Welcome, everyone. We are here for the first month, the kickoff of 2024 for the how we align our thoughts with our purpose. And ironically, we have a great crew with us today, and we teach a self-leadership program that is part of our Living Unlayered retreat. And we literally have on the screen a visual I put into our LinkedIn invitation as well as our Facebook community, because this is actually from one of the principles of our self-leadership program. And we shared with everybody that we would be discussing what is real success. And the quote in the book, in the online program, ironically, yes. Love it, Stephen. The quote in the material, in the principles of Valuegenics is what we call valuegenic mindset. And every time I bring this up to a client, I always get this interesting look on people's faces. What is that valuegenic mindset? And so I want to give you the science of formal axiology validates that the key to creating greater success is to develop and adopt the mindset that real success in any worthwhile endeavor is about the value you create, not just the value you get. This is what we call a valuegenic mindset. So as in every Q&A, we start off with a few thoughts to open up the discussion and a couple of seeds to put into our kickoff for 2024. Our valuegenic focus every 24 hours of every day. A few people got texts from me this morning saying, okay, you got a new 24 hours. And a couple people gave text back, oh, what's this about? And so the opportunity is to remember that every 24 hours, we get to create a valuegenic mindset. And moreover, as they also share in neuroaxiology and broader research and cognitive neuroscience, I am a neurocognitive remodeling technologist. That is the certification I have through this Valuegenics program, suggests that the mind brain is at its best when we're operating from a valuegenic mindset. Imagine our whole world operating from this mindset. And when we're engaged in this, we have our centers of our brain that are related to critical thinking, empathy, executive control, creativity, and decision-making receive more energy, more oxygen, and feel good in our neurochemicals. What a concept. So as a result, we also experience less negative stress. Isn't that a wonderful mindset to bring into our 2024? These are the opportunities that we get to be valuegenic rather than self-centric. This is a conversation I just had with another coach this morning. We have the opportunity to understand that if we show up in any experience from a self-centric mindset, we are bringing that to the conversation. When we bring a valuegenic mindset, we are looking to give and receive value, not from a self-ego focus, but from a opportunity of how we included everybody in the equation. And the great visual above that says, this is my quality of life. Some of you have seen in the Slaying the Onion book, we have a life wheel concept or a labyrinth concept, actually both, that integrate a lot of this visual of all of our life endeavors, from self to family, friends, community, nation, and world, in every meaningful measure. So as I plant these seeds, I'll stop sharing the screen and bring up everybody into the screen. I'm going to plant one more thought and we'll open it up for a conversation, and we'll be quick and efficient today and let any other conversation that comes up. Real success is a valuegenic mindset. Real success is how we are giving and receiving value in every 24 hours. That's simple. Does it seem that simple?
It's so simple, I need you to repeat it.
Mr. Mason, thank you for the request. A valuegenic mindset means I'm giving and receiving value. Every choice and action I make will, as if you go back to our central question for the Valuegenic Self-Leadership Program and for our 2024 brand new year, is 24 hours a day for 365 days. Hopefully some of those days your valuegenic mindset allows you to take family time and whatever other commitments you're going to make that align in your overall focus for the year. So as we kick off this 2024, by the way, one of our life wheels is about fun and recreation. one of our opportunities is how are we being effortless in the commitments that we are making, that we are giving and receiving value. I got to finish a book over this road trip called The Working Genius. And it was a beautiful book about understanding how to be in your effortless areas of genius. Our thought patterns, our assessments, our tools help people discover that of where their thinking best aligns them. That is our opportunity to show up for ourselves and for our teams in what real success is for 2024. So as I plant those seeds, is there any other questions on those before I ask any questions? Mike, please.
It's interesting that that phrase, real success in any worthwhile endeavor is about the value you create, not the value you get. Um, it reminds, just because this topic has come up lately, just amongst my colleagues and friends and family, that um, it's like, I think, and I'm not beating my own chest. I think you know me better than that. But I've had that mindset, whether it was articulated in those exact words, I've had that mindset for many years, even when I was a high level sales rep. Yes, I was highly compensated for the sales that I made, but it was about the client. It was about what am I doing to serve the client. And it's too bad that we just can't walk around kind of like the star-bellied snitches, the Dr. Seuss book. It's too bad you can't walk around that people who get it get a star, and the people who haven't earned it yet don't have a star yet. And it's not, I'm not ostracizing anybody. It's like, hey man, listen, there's a better way to do this. So it's just kind of funny that, I'm saying that we do get that. I haven't heard it articulated in those words, but it does remind me of some. I hope nobody's offended if I bring a little religious philosophy into
Levity.
this. Just well, a
Yes.
little. It was Father Thomas Keating. He's one of the contemplatives, and he's one of the gentlemen I've listened to because he almost got ostracized by the Catholic Church. So what he says was very edgy, and those are the people I gravitate toward. And he said, a true follower of Jesus needs no rules. And I'm like going, wow. I mean, it's like, yes, yeah. When you get it, you get it. And that what Father Keating said reminds me of, or this reminds me of what Father Keating said. It's like, once you're there, you're there. So my question to you, Coach, is how do you know from the people that you're working with, like us on the screens here, how do you know when we get it?
That is an amazing question, Mr. Mason. And Mike, the gift that you also gave everyone in the room is the opportunity that who gets to make the decision that I know they got it.
It's almost like
Question with a
subjective.
question.
Yeah.
That's coaches speaking to coaches, by the way. And yet, that the gift of that though is a really powerful question, Mike, because, and Stephen, you chimed in on that. At the end of the day, I can observe a experience of somebody until that person truly values and has their heart, mind, and soul wrapped around a concept, a understanding, a way that they get to live it out. It doesn't matter what my observation is. It matters what that person's experience is. And there's a couple of different ways to approach this, and it's going to be interesting, the feedback. Stephen, you're digesting something.
Yeah, well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's like when you arrive, you arrive. I mean, when you start walking the line, then you're walking the line. It's not before or after, it's when you're doing it. So when you have arrived and when you are working in this value, go ahead, April, what is it?
Valuegenic mindset. Mm-hmm.
Valuegenic mindset. When you're operating with that, it's obvious because it's so far beyond what we see day to day. Mm-hmm. At least what I see day to day in the people and a lot of the world around us. And people start noticing it in you and on you, because it's like having that little star. I'm more of a snuffleupagus myself, but It's more, it's like having that star when you're working. Well, I'll talk for myself.
Please.
When I am operating within a valuegenic mindset, and my actions and my words are congruent with what my goals are, my clients react differently. And that can be, I can see the differences within a conversation depending on how the conversation is going. And I've got a couple clients right now that are really pushing my limits on, and so when I'm on the phone with them or I'm on a Zoom, I have this right in front of me so that I can refer to it, the central question, so I can refer to it when I'm having a when things are coming out, they're coming out. When I'm having to manufacture and create and it's causing me a little angst, I know that I've just stepped out of the valuegenics mindset. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is with me, when I'm doing it, it's obvious. When I'm not doing it, it is obvious. And where I'm at right now is that I'm beginning to observe and be aware of the indicators that let me know that I'm stepping off the line. And it's not in the reaction of the person on the other side of me as much as I'm beginning to see and feel the difference between the two.
Stephen, there's a couple of things, and Mike, I'm going to come back to a couple of things you mentioned, and then Carrie, I'm going to ask for your thoughts because your face is digesting it all, I can tell. And the first thing is, Mike said the star on you. That doesn't everybody get a star type of and then you added the snuffle. I'm not say that appropriately. Snuffleupagus. Anyway, so
Snuffleupagus. You
thank
need to
you.
read your Dr. Zeus.
I do. With that though, when you said it's somewhat obvious, and then you also said there's indicators that you feel you can notice when you're not in alignment with the central question. And I want to come back to that in a minute, but Carrie, what are you processing?
I don't know. I'm just listening to everybody, just kind of observing at this point and thinking about, am I in a valuegenic mindset, or like, have I been? I don't know. It's a good question because I feel like, yeah, I'm always trying to do what's best for my client. You know, I'm trying to do what's best for them every day. I mean, without even really thinking about it. But let's be honest, I'm not doing it for free. You know what I mean? There is value for me in there as well. So I guess I'm just questioning the question of, you know, do you get what I'm saying?
It does. Carrie,
Yeah.
that is a beautiful question to question. Because would you do some of the things you do if you weren't getting paid to do them?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Right.
And this comes back to the conversation of, am I creating value and am I receiving value?
Okay. Yes, both.
Exactly. And there's so many other pieces to that puzzle. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So great job for asking yourself the question and for clarifying, what does that really mean to me, right?
Yeah, because I was almost questioning for a moment, like, is it not supposed to be, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but like, is it not supposed to be about me at all? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm getting paid, it is somewhat about me. So I was questioning, like, is that not supposed to be something I'm even thinking about?
Well, and so that's part of the question. And that, so Mike, what do you want to add to that question? Because I know you're itching to add it.
I'm not trying to shake the tree, but I
I
was
like
just
it.
curious, like as a coach, how often do you have to say that to people was my question. It was like literally like, when do you know you get it? Because Stephen has an excellent point. And actually science has backed up what Stephen said, that and I'm paraphrasing, forgive me if I got it wrong, but you said whenever you are in that mode of value for your clients feel it. And science has proven that. It's not only in a forgive me, what industry are you in, Stephen? Is it
Real estate.
finance? Oh, in real estate. It's not only in the realtor client relationship, but it's also with intimate relationships and family, children. When we show up as authentic and real, and that's been Gary Brecka has just spoken on that recently, that authenticity thing, which seems to show up quite a bit. But you know, I my question was like for April, she's not like remember when Luke Skywalker was getting trained at some point. Yoda was in his backpack saying, "Hey, you're doing it. You're right, and you're doing it wrong." That it would be nice if April was there to like look over our shoulders and say when we're hitting it, you know, hitting the mark and when we're not. But she's not omnipresent that I know of. So I was just
No.
wondering if you had any way of knowing whenever your clients, you know, I'm sorry, whatever you call us, students, clients, colleagues, you know, have you seen like a shift from not value centric to value centric? And if so, how do you know? And by the way, we don't have to spend too much time on this because it doesn't matter if we get it, we get it. If we're on the right path, if we don't have it yet, we're on the right path. I can tell by the way you facilitate and the content in which you're sharing. We are going to get it. So you don't have to like. I'm not beating a dead horse here, but I am just curious from your perspective how you know when your client, your student has you know, rung the bell.
And I am excited to watch you self-discover that as well. And Stephen, there's something you want to add to that equation, and I've got a couple other things I want to add to what Mike said.
Okay, the one thing I want to share is that not to confuse operating within a valuegenic mindset and making the client happy. Those are two different things. And because I communicate things to my client.
Everyone has a perspective they bring to a conversation. Everyone has a value that they bring to an experience. Agreed? Okay. Now, how we perceive each other's value may not always be the same. And so, Mike, coming back to your other question, you may have a light bulb moment or understand valuegenic mindset in one perspective, and then you might uncover another layer to that same perspective and have a whole nother experience happening, and then have another experience and another. Yes. So thank you. And our opportunity is to understand that wherever that person is that I'm meeting, where are they at? So Carrie, in, let's say hypothetically in your business or your team, real success for you is creating an opportunity where you provide value, whether that be for a team member, whether that be for a client, whether that be for whichever business you're serving. You are providing an opportunity to provide value and create an experience. And just as Stephen mentioned, some of your clients are going to meet you at a certain place where they're running their own value system. And you may or may not align with it, or you may need to have conversations about what valuegenic looks like for each other. Because sometimes we forget to define it for each other. Lisa and I had this conversation via text this morning. And I sent a text to her thinking it's a completely joyful text. I sent one to Stephen just like it. And I get response, "You're missing some context here." And I had no idea how they were going to receive it. And I had my own valuegenic conversation going on in my head, sending the text and getting a response back of, "What's this about?"
Question mark.
Literally, from multiple people. So we all have moments that we have a valuegenic experience happening in our mind, in our heart, our soul, that we go to share with somebody, and where they are in their valuegenic mind, heart, and soul may not be at the same place. And our opportunities to be in curiosity and to ask questions and to discover where each person is and how we best connect with them. Does that make sense? Because real success is what?
Working in a valuegenic mindset.
Giving and receiving value from a valuegenic mindset, correct. And so if as you're building your 2024 and you're kicking it off, what is the opportunity? Is there any questions about what your concerns are, what you're preparing for in 2024 that we could help you as a community? She's like, I'm still getting used to all this process, right? Did we help clarify the definition of valuegenic mindset for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I understand it. I think I just like have an inner conflict with, is the fact that I'm being compensated like a bad thing to have on my mind?
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
Because that's kind of the way I read it and I understand it. And then I go, well, you know what I mean? But like, we're all here to make a living. So, I mean, it has to be part of our goals, right?
You provide a service to somebody and you have an expertise that they do not have, and they are searching out somebody to help them. Who better to help them than you, who know what you're doing? Because there are a lot worse choices out there.
A lot.
A lot, I know. So
Yeah.
you are doing something that is valuable for them. And and I'm just guessing here, I don't think you have a lot of people complaining about paying you.
No.
Right?
No.
So why are you complaining?
Well, Stephen, that question alone has a whole process to it. And Carrie, and thank you, Lisa. I love your comment. Selling is a service. Selling is providing a need, right? It's fulfilling a need. So I'm going to give you two thoughts to add to your thought process there, Carrie. The first one is year before exchange of money was given, exchange of services were given. Okay. So long before, everybody would decide how much something was worth, right? And so every exchange is a combination. Again, value is exchange. Value is need. People provide a need. So I'm going to tell you a silly joke that hopefully will add some value to this. So imagine a attorney having his best buddy come visit him, walks in the door, says, hey, I've got a challenge. I've got this situation happening. The attorney turns around, pulls a book off of his shelf, shares a statement with the friend, and says, this will take care of your challenge. And says, great, I'll be happy to pay for that. He says, great, I'll send you an invoice. So now this was years ago, and he sent him $1,000 invoice. And the friend comes over to the attorney and says, wait a minute, that took you a minute to create that. And the attorney said to him, yes, it took me a minute to create it. It took me $999 to have the education and the experience to know where it was to give it to you. Now that's a low amount, by the way, because I'm sure they probably charge an incredible amount more than that, right? But you get my point. Because more often than not, business owners forget to add up. And I also took many years to build as a living from example and living authentically. Think about, Carrie, how much time you've invested into your business, how much training you've invested, how much education you've invested, how much experience you've got invested. Yeah. All of that has value. And that is my uncle and I were just having a conversation about his pigs and how much he could sell the pigs for and how much he's invested in the pigs to feed them, to make them sellable. And he's like, I've done double the amount of what I'm going to make off that pig. I said, yeah, but it's been entertaining. My point being is that everything's got value. Everything. And again, it's subjective or objective, right? Yeah. Yet our mind is a decision. So, Carrie, the biggest value of what you just brought up is if I don't believe that I deserve the value, and I don't believe that I've earned the value, and I don't require that and request that and show up with that humble confidence that says, I'm always willing to continue to learn, is you get to share and receive. And that net value is all people included, including myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's not that I don't think that I deserve the value. It's just that I've heard agents say, oh, don't focus on the check. Don't focus on the check and the business will come. So I think kind of that's what I had in mind as I was reading that quote. They're saying, like, don't worry about yourself, just focus on the client. Well, I do
So,
both. In
and,
reality, I do both.
and Carrie, that's the honest answer, right?
Yeah.
That's a candid, honest answer that says, I have a commitment of goals that I've created,
Correct.
and that requires so much revenue to create those goals. That's a business owner doing forecasting and doing their job, right? You're also an individual that is showing up to serve. You're an individual that is aligning with people that need a service and creating the opportunity to fulfill their need. Agreed?
Agreed.
It's just understanding how and when to use which language and terminology in conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to be a business owner. You're allowed to forecast. You're allowed to do all those things. When you're with the client, your opportunity is to be there to serve,
Of
answer the
course.
questions, discover what their need is, and fulfill the next phase. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yeah. And that's the valuegenic mindset, is one conversation, one thought, just like that. And thank you for being willing to have that conversation, because that's real. Everybody's going through that. And more often than not, that's why we teach the home run program. As you get bases, and there are days that you need to be treasurer of the business. There's days you need to be president of the business. There's days you need to be sales manager of the business. And there's days that you need to be, customer service of the business, right? Understanding which base you're on and how you're helping that client is the opportunity. And congratulations for it is a beautiful gift to be willing to ask the questions. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
Mike, thank you for starting off the conversation. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Anything I wanted to add?
Uh-huh.
I think Carrie may be challenged with the same thing I was challenged at first, as I felt like in my previous career and jobs that ever since I had this like awakening a long time ago, and it's like, hey, it's not about me. There's bigger things. I've had this valuegenic mindset. The challenge, Carrie, and I think, was we didn't hear it worded like that, but it's innate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so to see it articulated, we might see it articulated another way and go, well, yeah, that's what we're doing. And Carrie, for the first time in 30 years, I took a salary job. This was 11 or 12 years ago now, and I'd been in commission sales my entire life. I remember that literally, my first paycheck, I literally, as the HR manager handed me the paycheck, I go, I literally forgot that I get paid for this. I mean, this is like so cool. And let me tell you, the check got cashed guilt-free. I had like no trouble and providing service for 2 weeks to our clients, our version of our clients. But thanks for making what I thought was just a neat little side question. Thanks for making it a full conversation, everybody. This is really cool.
But and that literally is why we wanted to kick off the conversation. And the other thing that will be valuable for our group, as all of you are part of our winter retreat community as well, is that it is who are you being in this journey. Because that valuegenic mindset is showing up being that individual. And that valuegenic is in my mind and in my actions. So going the choice and action, and then the layers are the part of the slaying the onion, living unlayered process. And that is for another day. So for today, and I promise to be efficient and quick, our kickoff for 2024, we will do this once a month. Mr. Mike Mason will be our special guest in February, and we will have a fun subject for him to cover in his thoughts and purpose. And Miss Lisa will be our special guest for our March event. And Heather and Carrie, you will be asked. Stephen's already been one of our special guests, so you will be asked in the future to be one of our special guests as we get our schedules aligned. So unless there's anything else, I will give you an extra 20 minutes of your day. Thank you for kicking off our 2024. Any other thoughts or input we want to add for what our real success in 2024 will look like? Stephen, you have a...
It'll look like success.
Well, and your opportunity is to define and live it out in that valuegenic day by day, 24 hours a day. Start, and by the way, it's a fresh start every day, every hour, every moment. And when you add up each 24 a day in a valuegenic mindset and give yourself permission to receive value and give value in all the different areas of your life, you will get to create one day and another day and another day, and then they will all come together in creating the life and experiences you want to create. Agreed? Isn't that simple? Have some success today and celebrate the win. Celebrate a win. Great to see everyone. We'll see you again soon. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.